NDJ a few months ago came to me with wanting to do a series about AI. And I, at first, was very hesitant because I'm admittedly very angry at it. However, I do think that it's a super smart thing ultimately to take on the topics that are hard and to start digging into them. And I think it's smart to do it as a series because it will need a lot of unpacking. So we are choosing to take this next opportunity for a coffee break to get into it, get into the hard stuff.
Yeah.
Nat, I don't know if you want to talk any more about what initially gave you the idea to tackle this. And I think it was really smart. It's coming at a very divisive time. So I'm curious to hear more from you in terms of your thought process there.
Sure. I think because it's unavoidable, AI is such a hot topic everywhere, but in our industry. And I felt we can't pretend it's not happening. And I think what also pushed me to want to do a series is because this podcast is focused on animation production. I wanted to get into what does that mean for animation production? Because there's different types of AI, right? There's generative AI, which I'm not a super fan of, where you throw in a prompt and it creates an image. But there's also what I guess I would call technical AI or predictive AI that you would use for organizing data and processing data and could be useful for spreadsheets. And there are tools unrelated to generative AI that could be useful to production people. And I did know like our first guest that we're going to have on is a producer. I guess I'll talk a little bit, is a producer from The Happy Producers. I won't give her a whole bio, but she had done a class about AI within animation production management that I took that I thought was really interesting. And again, it was about like note taking and organizing shot tracking and all that boring stuff. And I thought that could be a good place to start because that feels like within our wheelhouse and maybe less divisive. I don't know. So that was it. And I also just think it's a hot topic. So let's get into it. There's so many different opinions and I want to hear them all. And I feel curious about it. And there's a lot of things I don't know enough about the legal ramifications and lack of legal protections for artists. I feel like I'm blathering, but my point is there's so many things to talk about within this world, within this topic. And I'd like people to be able to feel like they can express their opinion without being torn apart because they might have a different opinion.
Yeah, I think people need to be aware that it's not a simple thing that is either a yes or a no. It's a super nuanced topic that will change the industry that's coming, whether we like it or not.
We've recorded even just this coffee break episode so many different times, and then we kind of hesitate. And you know what? I think it's shitty that we feel nervous about putting out a mini podcast episode. I think what I'm trying to say is I want to get literate on AI. And because I have a podcast, I have the opportunity to interview whoever we want and include that in part of my journey in becoming literate in AI and how it came to be and how it's going to be used and what sucks about it and what doesn't suck and what are people even talking about because it's such a blanket statement.
And I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and we live in a time where you have to weed through the information to really find what is true and factual.
We'd love to hear what topics you'd like for us to discuss specifically within AI, or if there's anyone you want us to interview. Again, our first episode up will be with a producer who did her own sort of exploring of AI. And we talk about what she thinks could be helpful for production and what couldn't be helpful.
Echoing what you said, I don't want to be afraid to have those hard conversations. The best way that you can battle misinformation is by learning and trying to figure out what the facts are.
We want to be educated. Before I say, no, I don't ever want to use that tool, or yes, but only in these ways, I want to feel educated in my decision and not be basing it off of something I randomly heard off the internet. Also, it's such a AI, those two little letters encompass so much. And so for me, when the conversation comes up, I'm often like, what are we talking about? Are we talking about generative AI? Are we talking about predictive AI? Are we talking about the 2001 Steven Spielberg film starring Haley Joel Osment?
And that's a blast from the past, man.
I thought about that movie the other day and looked up the plot because I could not remember it.
Yeah, I remember.
It's weird.
I remember not, but I think I get that confused with the one with Robin Williams. I guess all this to say, bringing it home right now, is I think what's so important, there's so much hatred in the world. The animation community, we're stronger together. We need to have people's backs.
I think we need to make space to have the conversations.
Yeah, and that's a good starting spot. In terms of my own opinion on AI, I think, if anything, I'm definitely more of like the skeptic who is just more of like the curmudgeon of, ugh, great, another tool I gotta use. But I want to understand the evil that's coming for me no matter what. What is your current take on it as a whole?
I think I would say I'm cautiously curious because do I want to watch an entire film made from somebody putting prompts into a computer and it generates images? No, I do not. Am I open to advanced tools that help with the boring stuff I have to do at work in terms of shot tracking and spreadsheets and things? Yes, please. But also, I want to, if it's sucking up all the energy in the world, I want to know about that. If I'm saying, like, no, I'm not going to use ChatGPT because it takes up too much water, I've started to learn that there are other things that also use up a lot of water. And it's making me think, like, maybe I need to dig into more than just AI if I really actually care about the environment. It's just gotten me thinking about a lot of things. So I feel cautiously curious.
Good alliteration.
I love alliteration.
So in terms of our series and what we're thinking, we are still trying to wrap our heads around what that will look like. But as NDJ mentioned, our first interview will be dropping in 2 weeks, where we start with a producer who lectures on it.
Let's make the painful topic fun.
Mel Brooks said the best way to combat things that are hard is with humor. So we are going to attempt to keep it fun and engaging, even though it may be challenging.
If AI, the topic at hand, is too frustrating to talk about, we can switch to AI, the 2001 movie directed by Steven Spielberg, and I think written by Stanley Kubrick.